A Wonderful World, the Louis Armstrong musical we just had on Broadway.
That's really cool.
Massive musical. It was a huge undertaking, $23 million, and it was stunning. A beautiful, beautiful piece. James Monroe Iglehart, who played Louis, got a Tony nomination for the role. He had won the Tony Award for playing Aladdin on Broadway in Disney's Aladdin.
Oh, wow.
Incredible actor, amazing, amazing man and human being. And yeah, that was an incredible experience doing the Louis Armstrong musical. It was a heavy lift and a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Young Junk!
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Path to Possible. I'm your host, Mike Sage, and today we have a very special guest, Carl White. Carl, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Pleasure having you.
Finishing my
Two-time.
post-workout carbs.
No,
Sorry.
you're good. Hey, do your thing. You got to keep healthy. Two-time Tony-winning producer. And what is the name of your production company?
It is called Martian Entertainment, as in Little Green Men. Although I'm obviously a big white dude.
Yeah. Awesome. So, hey, what led you to the path of wanting to be a producer, starting your own company on Broadway, and what was the fight and struggles that you had to go through?
Well, the fight and struggle is daily, but I started out as a performer in the business. Actually, when I was 13, I got into the arts and started performing high school, regional theater, things like that. And by the time I turned 16, I was assisting directors and choreographers. So I started working on the production side, and I really liked that side of it. I loved performing, and I was really quite good.
Hmm.
And I was well trained. I took, dance class and all acting class and voice class and all of that for years in Los Angeles, where my family was living at the time. And but I preferred assisting directors and choreographers. And what I liked about that is when you're a performer, like you touch your role, right? But when you're on production, you touch everything.
Hmm.
And I liked being able to touch everything on a show. So as I started working and assisting directors and choreographers, I gradually moved into the production end. And then I moved out of the house pretty early. I moved out of the house in my junior year of high school and moved up to Los Angeles to live full time because I was working and I was making a living already. And luckily, my parents were pretty progressive and allowed me to. And so I lived and worked in LA, and I was sort of building this career of working on the production side of productions. But then once I finished high school at 18, 3 months afterwards, I just opened my own company. And I took a leap and I opened a production company in Los Angeles, and it ended up being very successful. And we did very well. And we didn't. I mean, we certainly had our years of struggle, but we had a successful company, and I did well. And that's when I really sort of transitioned into producing, right? And from there, I thought, okay, after several years of doing that, I thought, well, I'm still pretty young. If I'm going to do this as a real career, I should probably move to New York. And that's when I moved to New York in the early 90s. And so at that point, when I got to New York, I started working for Broadway producers, right?
Hmm.
And just sort of learning how does the real professional business here in New York work, and worked for Broadway producers. I worked for the producers of Chicago. They are mentors of mine, Barry and Fran Weissler. They're amazing, amazing producers. David Stone, the producer of Wicked, also an
Wow.
incredible producer.
Yeah.
And Kevin McCullum, the producer of Rent and Avenue Q and In the Heights and Six and any number of amazing shows. He's also a mentor of mine. And I was really lucky, to have amazing mentors, the people at the top of their game in the business. And then when I was 27, I opened Martian, my second company. And I've had that now for almost 28 years.
Not showing your age at
Does it
all.
show?
Yeah, nah. No, that's amazing. Now, was it musicals out in LA or was it more just a
We did both, actually. We did musicals and plays.
okay.
We
Was it
did
on the
revivals
was it
and
on the
originals.
lots or
No,
I guess Hollywood?
I had a company and a whole building in Los Angeles, and I converted it
Wow.
to a theater, and we had a scenic shop and rehearsal studios. It was around 5,000 square feet, and a lobby and audience services and all that sort of thing. And I just built up this sort of resident theater company, and I was one of those crazy people in LA in the 80s who, like, everybody was working in film and TV, and I was doing musicals and theater. But that's where my passion was, so I didn't mind.
No, that's amazing. I'm glad you
Yeah.
stuck with it because you just had a production. Uh, what was it, Louis?
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. A Wonderful World, the Louis Armstrong musical we just had on Broadway.
That's really cool.
Massive musical. It was a huge undertaking, $23 million, and it was stunning, a beautiful, beautiful piece. James Monroe Iglehart, who played Lewis, got a Tony nomination for the role. He had won the Tony Award for playing Aladdin on Broadway in Disney's Aladdin.
Oh wow.
Incredible actor, amazing, amazing man and human being. And yeah, that was an incredible experience doing Louis Armstrong musical. It was a heavy lift and a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. So the one thing, do you guys cycle through actors and actresses in on Broadway, or like when you try to get somebody from film to come over, is that hard? Or like a lot of people seem like
It
they're trying.
depends. I mean, it's always hard to get stars because A, they need to be interested in the piece, right? B, the throngs of people they have working around them, agents, lawyers, managers, all these other people who make money off of them, all have to, like, they have a say, right? They have a say in their golden goose and where their golden goose is sort of working, or at least I should say they have influence on where their golden goose is working. So lining up their schedules is really probably the most difficult thing. Like 2 years ago, I was one of the lead producers of a play on Broadway called The Cottage. Great, great comedy, really fantastic. Jason Alexander from Seinfeld directed it,
That's cool.
who's a incredible guy, by the way. And Eric McCormick from Will and Grace starred in it, along with an amazing other cast of other really solid actors, Laura Bell Bundy and any number. But lining up the schedule for Jason and Eric to do that was tricky. You sort of have to find this window that works for TV film stars. Usually, that's more often the summer than not, because a lot of production will, cease in the summer.
Mm,
It's spring and fall that gets really busy for celebrities. So that's that's challenging to attract stars and
mm.
to line up their schedules. But it's happening more and more on Broadway now, and very successfully, of course. But then, like, cycling through just other actors in New York, like, solid working New York, and professional actors. It depends. I mean, if we're working on a long running show, like, I have a long running show running in New York right now called The Play That Goes Wrong. It's a
Love it.
fantastic comedy. It's been running in New York for 7 years.
Eh,
Um, Won the Tony Award for Best Set, and everything does go wrong in it. And it's hilarious. But that's been a long run of a show, and we do cycle through actors because, like, they can only stay in the show for so long. It's very physically demanding.
mm,
But then we'll bring back alumni, and alumni who've done a tour or did the Chicago production or did the DC production
right.
or something like that. So we've got this sort of bench that we can call on and bring into the show and rotate. And all the long running shows do that. Like Wicked, I'm sure, probably has a huge bench of Elphabas and Galindas that
Yeah.
they can call up and say, hey, can you come in and play this role for a while, stuff like that.
Now, could that make or break a show? Bringing in an A-lister?
Sure, absolutely. Oh my gosh.
Like if you brought Denzel in to play Louis, like would that have been
I mean,
I guess Morgan
yeah,
Freeman
absolutely. I
you
mean,
know?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, stars, stars are stars, right? Like
Yeah,
they're
not to take away from anything that the
oh,
gentleman
they're
did.
known brands. I mean, more and more what we're finding on Broadway, unfortunately and unfortunately, I should say, is that audiences sort of post-pandemic are buying known IP, right? Like
Yep.
titles they know
Right.
or they're familiar with,
Mhm.
right? Or major celebrities, right? Like Denzel was just on Broadway last season in Othello, sold incredibly well. The
Okay.
reviews weren't great, they were mixed, but that doesn't really matter. And the thing is that consumers, they want to know what they're buying, right?
Right.
Like you want to know what you're buying. If you're going to pop this money down, upwards of $150 a ticket, sometimes even way higher, for big stars like Denzel or George Clooney. Um, if they're going to throw down that money, they want to know what they're getting.
Right.
And I get that from a consumer perspective and being a consumer myself, but that's sort of where Broadway shifted post pandemic. A lot of the new stuff that's unknown or doesn't have huge stars in it has been struggling, which is a real shame. I wish we as a society in America would take more advantage of, you know, things we don't know in the theater and take a risk and go see a show we haven't heard of. You might be pleasantly surprised. Um, so yeah, it's an asset and a liability, right? To have stars in and things like that.
Absolutely. So the one thing we were talking about off camera was how long a production takes. And you were telling me the longest running show on Broadway is Chicago, right?
Yes,
And,
currently.
and
Yep.
you told me that it took what 12 years to get from start to finish on to to production.
I mean, I think I don't remember specifically about Chicago, but I do know that from what I understand, Hamilton took about 10 years.
Wow.
Louis Armstrong, my show, took 8 to go from original conversation when the director approached me about it to opening on Broadway. That was 8 solid years of work. Avenue Q, I want to say, took around 8 years.
Hmm.
Interestingly, Chorus Line only took about 2.5 years.
Okay.
So it really sort of depends on the work. If there's any underlying rights, like life rights, things like that, you have to clear. The creative team involved, how fast or slow they work. You know what I mean? What sort of opportunities, development wise, the producer can bring to the table. Sometimes it just takes a while to line up, an out of town tryout or something like that.
Right.
Raising the money, always the fun part.
Yeah. Right.
But on average, a good solid Broadway musical is easily going to take half a decade to a decade, to fully develop and give it a go.
That's amazing.
But it's a our what I do in my career is a marathon. It is not a sprint.
Yeah, no doubt. And so, do you ever try to find yourself in weird situations, like you take a flight out to some bum fuck town in Kansas City, and you're like trying to find like a weird passion or something that like might spark your interest?
um, I mean, yes, I'm sort of always looking, right? I'm always looking for opportunities. I'm always looking for things that come across my path or my radar. You know what I mean? When I travel, and I travel quite a lot,
Mm,
as I think you probably know, I travel quite a lot. It's not beyond me if I'm going to some town in the Midwest or something like that to be like, oh, hey, there's a local theater company and they're doing something I've never heard of. I'm going to go check that out and just sort of check it out, on the DL, you know what I mean? And not
right.
let anybody know what I do or who I am or anything and just go. I'm constantly sort of on the lookout for stuff, constantly reading articles, you name it, looking for inspiration, looking for stories, reading obituaries, reading Wikipedia. Like I'm constantly sort of consuming information and stories to see if there's something that can be born out of those.
That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And have you found any new type of passions, any type of inspirations lately?
Yeah, actually, I'm developing this new musical. It's really exciting. It's called Run Baby Run, and it's based on a true story, and we cleared the rights and everything for it. My partner and I, but it's about a 12-year-old girl in the 1960s who won the world record for marathon running against like all these men. And it's this really cool, like triumphant sort of personal best story. And uh, we came across it by just reading an article on reading like a something on Reddit or Substack. Like my business partner came across an article and was like, "Hey, this is kind of interesting. What do you think about this?" And I was like, I read it and I was like, "That is interesting. That would be a really good musical, actually." And so we set about like trying to figure out a path to make it happen. And now we're at a point. We've been working on that for about 4 years
Okay.
concertedly. And I just counted it the other day. We've got 12 songs written now.
So
By
you have a songwriter.
Yeah, we have songwriters out in LA.
Okay.
They're they're pop writers. They're not theater writers, which is great and exactly what we wanted. They've written songs for Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears and any number of major pop stars. And they're really, really good songwriters. And yeah, we've got 12 songs now.
That,
So
that's awesome.
just working on the score at the moment, you know. We don't have a director yet. We don't have a book writer, the script. We don't have a number of things yet because we're just trying to find the musical landscape of the piece. But yeah, that's something that's really inspiring me and that I'm super excited about.
That's awesome. And when would that come in fruition? Is that
It
going to be like a
depends.
long,
Like
long, long plan?
depends. What I'm gonna do next is find the right director to bring on board.
Okay.
And I think that will really help, you know, to that next step. But that's probably Broadway wise, that's a good 3, 4 years off, I'd say.
Okay. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
If
So
I can keep it on track, like really moving, I'd say 3, 4 years or so.
that's really interesting. You were talking about the music. I always refer back to Mamma Mia, and they only used ABBA songs, right?
Right.
Has there been another musical that's done that with?
Sure. I
Uh,
mean, absolutely. Like Jersey Boys. That's what's referred to as a Mamma Mia is referred to as a jukebox musical
right, right,
or a
right.
catalog musical.
Okay.
And there have been plenty of those. Like and Juliet, which is playing on Broadway right now.
Hmm.
That's a catalog musical. That's a jukebox musical. Louis Armstrong, my show, was basically a jukebox musical because it wasn't original music. It was
Well,
all of Lewis's songs, right?
w-
Pre-existing.
was Mamma Mia something about ABBA or?
Nope, not at all.
Okay. But like
Uh-uh.
Louis is,
That's
that's
about
his
his life, and
music, Jersey
it
Boys.
was biography. But Mamma Mia was an original story with their catalog attached.
Okay.
And Juliet is probably the closest to that,
Okay.
I'd say. And then a few years back, there was another show called Jagged Little Pill based on the Alanis Morissette album, but set
Mhm.
to an original story. It wasn't a biography on Alanis or anything like that. So that is done quite a bit actually. And jukebox musicals um, can be quite popular. Like Rock of Ages was a jukebox musical that was very popular. That ran on Broadway
Fantastic.
for 5 years. Yeah, it was a great show.
I
You know?
mean, as a watcher, I guess because I knew the songs, it was it was easy to get into the musical, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it like, when you're singing along with it, and it's like it's really it's a lot of fun, and Rock of Ages was
You know,
fantastic.
it's funny you mentioned that. I think what you just stated right there is the crux of why I think men, specifically straight men, no, really, like I think you're more inclined to enjoy something like that because you're familiar, it's familiar,
Yeah,
right? You know the songs, you know the music, you know there's something familiar to it. It's less foreign. And I think men probably, I don't know the data on this. I should go look it up actually. I probably will because I'm curious like that. But it doesn't surprise me that you really liked it and you said, you know, I knew all the songs. Like
right.
that sounds like something I think men do like things like that. And I think those type of things appeal towards men for that very reason because there's a familiarity there.
Of
So
course.
good thing for me to remember.
There you
Thanks,
go.
Mike.
There you go. Um, so with the 12 the 12 songs that you got, right?
Yep,
They gotta be catchy,
they
correct?
are incredibly
And that and
such good hooks in them.
they got good hooks, like, that will
Yeah.
keep the audience engaged
Oh yeah, exactly. It's
because
such with Run Baby Run, I'm super excited about the score.
yeah.
Um, that was one of the reasons why I sort of went outside of the Broadway landscape
Mhm.
and went towards, you know, like LA music industry, pop composers. I wanted someone because the story takes place in the 60s. I wanted a composing team who was music industry based, pop industry based, but also would understand the sound of the era, right? The 60s,
Yeah.
without it sounding cliche or dusty. Not to say theatrical writers can't do that. Of course they can. Theatrical writers are incredibly talented musical theater writers, but I really wanted a sort of authenticity of the era and the sound, that sort of Laurel Canyon sound, right? To
Beatles.
really infuse that particular show and score with.
Okay.
And I mean, the team I got, they've nailed it. It's a husband and wife team by the name of Shelley Piken and her husband Adam, and they're absolutely amazing songwriters, amazing, and they're really nailing it. And it's soup. Every time they send me a new song, I'm like, damn, that's a good song.
That's
Really good
great.
hook. So it's exciting to see a musical just sort of have a birth. You know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
giving birth to new work. Um, and every single show that comes out goes through this process, be it Hamilton or Chicago or
It could be the
Wicked.
next
Every
great one,
single
right?
show, yep, goes through this same process of birth and evolution and growth and hopefully success.
Mhm. So, is it a cutthroat business?
It is, of course. I mean, anything that is high stakes,
Yeah.
anything that has a relatively small pool and a finite number of venues and outlets to exploit material,
Mhm.
to present material, is going to be competitive. You know, on Broadway, um, uh, the producers, we all belong to an organization called the Broadway League, right? It's the sort of professional um, bargaining body of producers, and you know, if you think of all of Broadway, and that includes national tours, right, as well as major, you know, theaters across the country, like the Kimmel Center, right, in your backyard, like things like that, out of everything in the league, there's only about 800 producers. So in the entire United States, running Broadway and national tours and everything, there's 800 producers. That is a very small pool, right? On Broadway, there's what, 40 theaters. So it's incredibly cutthroat. It's incredibly competitive. It's incredibly expensive. It is a relationship business. Um, you know, we're in entertainment, right? Like it's as cutthroat as Hollywood or Vegas, you
Right.
know?
Wow. Man, that's crazy. So Dylan would get eaten up in Broadway, wouldn't he?
You never know.
Yeah.
He could just like strike it rich and have some luck. There's
Yeah.
that part too, you
S-
know?
So there is that part. So
Of course.
you can hit a home run.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Well, as we say, you can't make a living in the theater, but you can make a killing.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would fare well.
It's really it's really challenging. I mean,
I'm sure.
one of the reasons I've stayed in it for so long, and I've been doing this now for 37 years, is because of my passion for it. You know
Mm,
what I mean?
right.
If and that it's almost I mean, it's I hate to say it, but it's almost like a drug, right? Like you keep wanting to get that high, that fix, that adrenaline rush,
Hmm.
that dopamine hit from a successful show.
Right.
Um, it's no different, and we have that same sort of drive and that need to do it. You know, if one show fails, you know, it sucks. It's hard. It's depressing. It's all those things. But most people, if you're going to have any career in the business, you dust yourself off, you pick yourself up, and you go to the next one. You try again. You know,
So
constant trial and error, constant getting back up on the horse,
right.
constantly, you know.
So you failed daily, which is awesome because
I absolutely fail daily. I
that's
do.
awesome. No, that's great. And you know, you'll learn from that, right? So have you ever seen The Greatest Showman?
The movie, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right. So Hugh Jackman he stands behind when he finally hires the lady to sing, right? And the way you're describing that feeling, that adrenaline, that rush
Yeah,
that you've been looking for, he like shuts his eyes and like can't believe the noise of the crowd after she was done
right,
singing.
right.
So is that what
That's
that
exactly it.
like did they
Yes,
capture exactly what you're going for?
absolutely.
Okay.
Very much so. Absolutely.
That I love that.
Yeah.
That movie was fantastic.
Oh, it's an amazing movie. They're actually putting together the stage show right now. It's in development. That will
So
be coming.
so they didn't have that out first?
No, movie first.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I know Chicago was a play first and then went to
Yes,
movie, right?
absolutely. Yeah. Then made into an extraordinary movie, right?
Yeah, absolutely. What was his name? Richard Gere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was phenomenal in it.
I love that film. It's so well done.
Oh, it was. It
Yeah.
was. Eh, he had it coming.
What's the last show you saw?
On Broadway?
Anywhere.
Ooh, The Descendants. My, over at Summer Stage in Upper Darby.
Oh, interesting.
They
And
they they were fantastic. You know, my kids love musicals. They love Summer Stage. They were just in not a fan of it, but the CCC, I think it's the community church something. They put on plays and productions, and they just did James and the Giant Peach.
oh, nice.
Yeah, so they're doing that today, and they're doing that. They did that yesterday.
I love
But
that you support local theater and things like that. I think it's incredibly important to our communities that we do, you
oh,
know.
you're not kidding. Media Theater here puts on some productions that I like. I was out of breath. Um, like it took my breath away when we saw the Newsies at Media Theater.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of my friends, you know, they're like, "You're gay." I'm like I was like,
You're
"I
like, no,
know.
I just like musicals.
I do. I dig musicals. I like them. I'm always all about them. But, you
It was
know
me too. I mean, I'll be honest with you. The reason I even sort of got bitten by the theater bug was, you know, I grew up in the US Navy,
Mhm.
and I'm from a long line of military family. And both my parents were in the Navy, right? They
Okay.
met at Philadelphia Naval Hospital. And
Nice.
so my entire childhood was military service and going to military schools and moving every 1 to 2 years and living in extraordinary places, but sometimes, places where, I mean, like every 1 to 2 years, you're the new kid in school. So that's hard. That's really a tough life on young developing minds. And the one constant, so when you're in that sort of a gypsy lifestyle where you're just sort of traveling a lot in and out of stations and moving to places that are foreign and otherwise, and you've just feel out of place. Nothing's ever familiar. And this was in, of course, the pre-internet age. So it was, a different time. But when you're doing that, the only thing that you have that's constant is your family. So my dad and my mom were both, music was a big part of our household and our families. There was always music playing, and my parents loved all sorts of music from Peter Frampton to Glenn Miller, right? Like, and one constant that we constantly had in our house as I was growing up was musicals. So every like Thanksgiving, The Sound of Music would come on TV, right? And it'd be like, "Hey kids, like let's all watch The Sound of Music." Or South Pacific would come on TV in the summer, right? And there were sort of these TV musicals, Oklahoma, Carousel, incredible musicals, right?
Mhm.
Amazing movies in their own right. Cabaret, like these would come on TV and we'd always watch them. And my parents would play show records, and like musicals were kind of always a constant. So no matter what station we were in, right, we would move, we'd be in a new place. Oh, we're spending the holidays in a new city. We don't know anybody. It's just us. Hey, but Sound of Music is on. Let's watch it. And so it was
Beautiful.
a constant. And because theater was a constant, it gave me a security
Mm.
feeling, right? Like I was familiar with it
Yep.
and I was very secure with it. So I naturally sort of gravitated into an appreciation for the art without having the art like shoved down my throat or this is art, pay attention to it. It was just something that was constant and familiar, right? And that was my spark of how I got into it.
Right.
So I always tell people like go to local community theater around you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a high school or the local community theater or whatever, the local professional theater. Go see these stories. Take your kids because you never know what sort of inspiration or comfort or security that's going to provide. Right? You
Mhm.
could you could inspire an amazing career in some kid without even knowing it. You
Right.
know what I mean? My parents had no idea that one of their youngest child would become a Broadway producer. That wasn't in their landscape. Nobody they knew was a producer. They weren't in entertainment. They were a military family, right?
Right.
But it inspired something and it
Yeah.
set me off on my life's purpose. So I tell people go to the theater. It's important. It really is important
Well,
for
you
us.
you see the hard work that goes into community theaters.
Yeah,
They're not
absolutely.
they're not getting Tonys. They're in
No.
they just have a huge passion for it, and hopefully one day it'll take them to your level,
Right.
which you can
Have you
see.
seen Waiting for Guffman?
What is it?
Have you seen Waiting for Guffman?
I have not.
You haven't seen that movie?
No.
Oh my god, it's Christopher Guest and like incredible cast. You have to watch Waiting for Guffman.
I'll
Please
I'll
promise me you will.
I promise I'll check it out
It's
this
so
weekend.
good. You will love it. It's
Waiting for
fantastic.
Guffman.
Yeah,
Okay. Is it
you
on
have to
Netflix?
see it. I don't know what it's probably on, you can probably find it on one of those, I'm sure. It's been out for a good 20 years.
Okay.
But it's so funny, and it's exactly what you're talking about,
Yeah.
like about a local little community theater, and it is funny as you know what.
All right.
It's great.
No, I
Yeah,
love it.
Waiting for Guffman. Please watch that.
So when does the new season start for Broadway?
It started already. So
Okay.
our season,
So
it did.
I
It
was gonna
starts
say
immediately after Tony
I
Awards.
was gonna say awards season is what? June or July?
June, yeah. So
Okay.
basically, the cycle of Broadway is essentially this, and I'll back up. Tony Awards is usually around June 8th, June 10th, somewhere right in there, early
Okay.
June. The month prior to that is Tony voting period, right?
Mhm.
So usually like all of May and into the first couple weeks of June until the 2 days before the Tony Award. So I'm a Tony Award voter. During that time, I'm insane. I'm seeing everything. You have to see everything in order to vote. It's everybody's seeing everything. It's crazy. So the month of May and early June is all Tony voting period. All shows in the season have to open before the Tony cutoff date. That's usually around April 29th, 30th, right? So every show has to open before then. So April, the final shows that are coming in the season are trying to get open, right? So there's a lot of stuff opening, like literally practically every night a new show is opening on Broadway around April. It's a really exciting time. Like April, May, June are the height of our season. So backing up from April, it goes the whole way back. Shows continue to open all throughout the year, the whole way back to the day after the Tony Awards. So the season starts right after Tonys are done. That's the end of the season. Boom, it's over, and the clock starts again. So
Got
there's
it.
a new show that my first Tony voting show that I have to see. I've got to see this summer. It's a new play starring Gene Smart. I've got to go see that now and tick that off the list. Right?
So, is there ever a time when there's not a show running on Broadway?
No.
All right, so you can always like anytime, any
Well,
day.
not at I mean hours wise, not at night, but there are every day of the week, 365 days a year.
There's always a
Broadway's
show.
Broadway's open for business.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. All right, so
Yeah.
your next production, is that coming out soon?
Yes, it is actually. As a matter of fact, I'm going to Charlotte, North Carolina in 4 days.
Okay.
And I am launching a really new funny comedy called Immediate Family. And it's being directed by Felicia Rashad. And has a fantastic cast attached to it of amazing professional New York actors. And we're going out of town to the Blumenthal Arts Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's going to play there for several weeks. And then hopefully after that, knock on wood, we'll see if we bring it into Broadway this next season or not.
That's awesome. That's incredible. Congratulations and good luck with it.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks. It's a
so
great play. It's really funny. I'm really excited about it. So I'm going out of town in a couple days, and I'll be down there for like 3 weeks.
oh wow.
Yeah,
So is that how it usually goes? Like you'll put it out of town first, get the reaction. Is
a
it
lot
kind of
of
like a
times. Yeah.
tester?
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
So why Charlotte?
They've got an amazing performing arts center down there.
Okay.
There's a very, very rich and diverse audience
Hmm.
down there. Um, the team at the Blumenthal Arts Center is absolutely phenomenal. They are first class, top notch. Just a really, really good environment to test it out in front of, you know, great, diverse, normal American audiences who don't have sort of that, New York, New York, New York take on anything. You know what I mean? It's a good space to try stuff out. So yeah, I've tried stuff out all over
Okay.
from Miami to Charlotte to Chicago to Des Moines, Iowa to Los Angeles to Boston, you name it. Like I've tried stuff out of town everywhere over the past how many years. I love going out of town. It's great.
You got to get back to the smaller communities, though. Come on now. You gotta put something.
Yes,
You got to put
yes.
something in a smaller,
That's
smaller.
true, actually.
Yeah,
Try some small theaters somewhere.
yeah,
That actually would be really fun.
that would. And then you're actually boosting the community.
Yeah.
You'll be boosting uh, your rep. But is there anything new coming to the stage for Broadway in terms of so like you see what a lot of people are doing. So like look at Savannah Bananas, right? And
Uh-huh.
they're taking baseball. Well, it's not baseball. It's a
I love
show
them.
with a little bit of baseball in between.
I love them.
Right. And it's really cool what he's doing. He's selling out stadiums across the US. Now,
It's so smart.
could could Broadway go into an open stadium by any chance?
Um, sure. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
There are a number of sort of open amphitheaters across the country where live theatrical performances do happen, right?
Mhm.
Um, like the Hollywood Bowl, of course, in Hollywood.
Okay.
Um, that's not just for the symphony, right? Like they do full on musicals and stuff there, open outdoors. Could it? Yes, it could. The question is, as always, what are you selling? What's the property? Can it fill that stadium? Right.
Right.
What I love about the Bananas and just sort of that whole league is that actually is kind of a Cirque du Soleil approach. That's a blue ocean approach.
Yeah.
And that that guy, when he envisioned this, he thought of a blue ocean in the way that Cirque du Soleil did, right? Like circuses had obviously for centuries had been popular, but Cirque du Soleil came along and did something that nobody had done before, which was take the animals out of the circus. Who would have ever thought that? Take animals out of a circus. That's what the circus is about. But Cirque du Soleil went, but is it? Is that what the circus is really about? And they created a blue ocean. They created their own space. Same thing with the Bananas, same thing with that whole league.
Right.
They've thought of a blue ocean and created their own space. It's not taking away from baseball. I
No.
bet you if you really look at the data, it may be bringing more people to MLB
I d
because of the excitement and joy and everything. It's a great way to get into that sport. Is something entertainment wise, right?
I can agree.
I love that. I'd love to take part in a league like that or something. That'd be awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So we're getting ready to wrap up, but I want to ask you for aspiring people that want to get into Broadway or an actor, actress, producer, songwriter. What's the best way to do it? Is it just like sink your teeth in, get up
jump
and
in,
yeah? I mean,
jump in.
yeah. How to like
Don't hesitate. If you have a passion for the arts in any way, right? Don't overthink it. Jump in.
where do you start?
I mean, move. If you don't live in New York, move to New York.
Okay.
Start meeting people. Ask, like, be hungry. Jump in. Let your overriding passion be your guide.
Mhm.
That's how to do it. Don't overthink it. Don't second guess. We're all second guessing. We all have imposter syndrome. Screw it. Jump in. Find any path you can. Even and if you can't move to New York or something like that, your local community theater, right? I think I told you this. I was just in Philly, in Germantown, a month or so ago. A friend of mine just happened to be doing a play called Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin at this little like 300 seat theater in Germantown outside of Philly, right?
Mhm.
Like I'd never been there in my entire life. And he was like, "Hey, would you come out and see this?" I went out and saw it. I was so impressed with the production, with the actors, with that little theater company, like with the community and how engaged they were at the performance I saw. It was unbelievable. Like even places like that in your own backyard.
Yeah.
Join, go, volunteer, ask, how can I get involved? Get involved because the industry is so small. So is the music industry. So is the film industry. They're actually really small when you compare it to other industries, right? Meeting people is not that hard.
Mhm.
Connections can build quite easily. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who would have thought a Navy kid would suddenly be working with, the most prominent producers on Broadway and in entertainment? It's all because I just jumped into it and just followed the path, right? Um, so one of my mentors, and I'll leave you with this, said this to me when I was 19 years old, running my first business. She was a really brilliant, economic and lawyer, accountant and lawyer, and she was one of my mentors. And she said, uh, "Find your overriding passion and follow it at all costs." And that is the motto that I live by in my career. And I give that to young people that I mentor now. Find your overriding passion and follow it at all costs. That's how you do it. That's how you get into it, no matter what it is. What if you want to go into medicine? What if you want to go into policing?
Mhm.
Right? What if you want to go into any number of things?
Right.
If it's your overriding passion, follow it at all costs. It won't steer you wrong. I guarantee you.
Well, those 2 Tonys behind you are stating that you did exactly that, and you followed your mentor's, advice.
That was my goal actually when I moved to New York, was to win a Tony Award. So I did achieve that goal. I did. I'm
That's
very happy about
amazing, and
that.
you did
Yeah.
it twice.
I did it twice.
Mm.
Yeah. Hopefully more, but we'll see.
I was gonna say, you got a whole lot life to live, so I'm
I
sure
do,
I'm
I
sure
do.
there's a lot of Tonys, coming back to you.
Hope so.
Yeah. Well, hey, good luck on your next productions. Thank you so much for being on the show. Really
Oh my
appreciate it.
gosh. Mike,
Uh,
thanks so much.
you got it. It was a pleasure getting to know you a little bit more and what your path was, and your production company. We want to.
Martian Entertainment. Yep.
You got it. Hey,
Look
Martian
us up.
Entertainment.
MartianEntertainment.com.
You got it. Hey, Young Junk, thank you so much. Again,
Thanks,
amazing
everybody.
studio. This was our first Zoom call podcast, so I'm actually
Oh,
really
nice.
I'm looking forward to seeing how it looks.
Awesome.
So hey, have a great day. Enjoy your
Thanks, brother.
3 weeks in Charlotte.
Yeah, and I'll see you when I'm back.
Sounds good, buddy.
All right. Talk to
Have
you
a
later.
have a great day.
Young John.